When he was just 3 years old, my great-grandfather's mother suddenly passed away. This left 6 children in the hands of his often absent father, constantly working, just to provide. This was the 1920s, after all. Needless to say, his grandmother practically saved his life, taking the role of his mother and raising and taking care of him all alone. And this story made me think, without the actions of this one woman who was born over 100 years ago, I wouldn't be here today, and half my family wouldn't be here today. When my great-grandfather shared this story, he was adamant about how much influence she had on his life, but she also indirectly influenced mine. With this, I'd like you to consider who you think your most influential person is. Maybe an old teacher, a coach, relative, friend, or coworker. Or maybe it could be someone that you don't even know, someone you wouldn't even think of. While you keep this in mind, I'd like to share a vibrant memory. This particular day, we were on vacation in North Carolina. This is something we did annually, and my grandpa was marking out a hike too for the day. When he pointed to which one he wanted to do, his finger was right in between 2 separate hikes. The first one was a short, easy path, a paved road to a waterfall. We had done this countless times. Okay, makes sense. The second one, however, was a long, tedious loop up the side of a mountain, one of the tallest in the area. And it was also marked for experienced hikers. I was only 9 at the time, and I was definitely not an experienced hiker. So I figured, of course, we'll be doing the easier, shorter one. But of course, as we arrived at the hike, I couldn't hear the familiar sound of rushing water and couldn't see the paved road. I remember hearing my grandpa say something like, "This hike will be difficult," but I heard the view at the top is worth it. And I knew I was in for it. But this is the kind of person my grandpa is. Every time I go to his house, we're always embarking on some kind of new adventure or starting a novel project. But he always promises a reward. During this hike, he kept exclaiming how the view at the top would be an awesome payment for the labor we were about to put in. And he wasn't wrong. The start was tough, and I was painfully reminded of how poor shape I was in. Thankfully, around a quarter of the way through, we stopped for a rest break, and I pulled out a snack. Probably a cookie. Grandpa, of course, only had an apple. You see, Grandpa follows a strict diet. Like many things in his life, he follows it stringently for the promise of good health and, ultimately, a longer life. As we continued, the hike only got more rigorous, but I actually began to enjoy it. With each boulder I had to climb over and tree I had to squeeze past, the sound of the birds, beauty of the water, and aroma of the sweet pine trees only got stronger. I still vividly remember the way the light was cast down through the fog, illuminating the emerging colors of spring below. I was finally content, and I could only imagine what the peak would bring. When the trail took an abrupt turn, however, we could see our car. We had finished the loop, and much, much sooner than we anticipated. Unfortunately, Grandpa's life was also cut short after an accident in 2021. His strict diet, his disciplined exercise, his countless adventures, all seemingly for nothing. But if there's anything I've learned from our hike, it's that he didn't attack challenges and strive to help others for the reward, but to make each step along the journey as meaningful as possible. We never fully got to embrace the peak of our hike, but I can now look back and reminisce on each step and each moment that made it beautiful. And this is why my grandpa is my most influential person. He may not be the perfect role model or saved my life by raising me in the 1900s, but his infectious personality taught me to embrace each moment before it vanishes. Each time I saw him, and even now as we reflect over his life. I might not be able to hike with him again, but those memories we shared and the person that he has shaped me into, they're gonna last a lifetime. And I'm just so grateful he decided to bring me along.